Okay. Hi guys. How are we today? So, for those of you that join, welcome. My name's Matyia, and we're just hanging out, doing some reading. All of the things today. Oh, okay. I've got my iPad out. Un moment, s'il vous plaît. They're getting wild out here. I don't know who's on YouTube this early in the morning. Hi guys. I just wanted to hop on this morning. I had a few people ask to go live, and good morning, Miles. Hi. Because, you know, I believe, good morning, it's storming right now. It's raining here. I had a lot of people who, because I don't do a lot on my Instagram, but I do run a lot of my threads, and they have such a way of limiting comment sections on. So then you've got like 40 bajillion, and you're just trying to get one thought across. So we all decided that we were just gonna try to hop on a live this morning. It was snow. It was snow like 3 days ago. So I told everybody I was gonna hop on a YouTube live this morning, and just listen, give everybody a platform. And so the topic is more so along the lines of spirituality, not so much as religion, but I was talking about reading a book that was called The Presence of Other Worlds. And then somebody was like, have you read The Holy Science? And I was like, nope, but do I need to? Of course I did. And so I just posted a video about, I think I'm only like 9 pages in. And I'm like, I already have so much to say, and I already have so many questions, and I don't have anybody to talk about. So here we are on live. Anybody that is of into, I guess, just spirituality. We were talking about, so this is a gentleman who, this is Hindu, and basically this man, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, So what's it? What is it? Okay, so the book Holy Sign. I'm like I said, I'm only 14 pages in, and it's basically, and I'm gonna butcher this name, but it's about Kriya Yoga, which is like the highest, I guess, level of yoga that you can do. I am very new to this, and it's like the infinite yoga designed to accelerate spiritual growth. And of course, hi Jeremy. uh, um, and it's about um, channeling your life force directly through the spine, breath work, mantras, techniques, all those things to open and awaken higher consciousness. And this gentleman, I don't know how to pronounce it. There wasn't a phonetic thing on how to pronounce this guy's name, and I'm just gonna call him I don't even know how to pronounce his name. The dude that wrote this book is SRI and then UKYUKTES something. Anyways, this dude spent a long time doing what he does in life. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna go on this pilgrimage. Again, I'm new, so I assume that either you're called to do a pilgrimage, it's kind of a thing that you do. It's a free PDF. Just type it in and like on Google and it'll bring up a free PDF. I do enjoy like actual copies more than audiobooks. This specific book is not on Spotify yet. Or it might be. Maybe I just didn't find it. And I just thought it was really interesting that he went on this pilgrimage in 1894. And it is a gathering at these three rivers. And as soon as I read that, I just made a video about it. I do believe that there is something in Egyptian spirituality where it involves a similar, maybe not a pilgrimage, but something similar with Euphrates and the Tigris. And there's I don't know if it's ley lines. That's not even Egyptian, but there's something with those three rivers. And I just wanted to also ask if anybody had an inkling about this, maybe similarities between those two, because when I Googled it, I didn't find anything. And I just didn't break out a book yet this morning to look it up. So I just wanted to hear other people's opinions about it. And so he went on this pilgrimage, and this god, an entity, appeared to him at this river. And that was like the first time he met this god. And he became known as, or not be known as, he seemingly lives in the Himalayan mountains. I don't know if it might be, are those the three that come together? I think I might actually have that written down. It might be Jordan, but I know that there's like something similar. I remember reading it in a book. I bet you it's in this book right here. And that book that I think that it's in is actually the title of my current topic is called The Holy Science. And they talk about the three rivers in India, but the one that absolutely this I don't know what it is. I am almost for certain I read it in this book that I have here. Oh, I'm sorry. And it's world mythology. And I am almost certain that I read something in here about, I'm not even gonna try to find it while I'm on this live. But I am pretty sure I remember reading something about the Egyptians having a similar type of spirituality around those three rivers, the Euphrates, the Tigris, a goddess, god, being of something. I feel like they had a similar one. And I was like, that's cool. A little, not synchronicity, but like I like to see how things like stack and play dominoes in my brain. And I was like, oh, I remember reading that in another culture. And there's 4 stages to this. Dressed stuffing, turkey, and cranberry sauce. I don't know what that means. So let me put this heavy ass book down. In there was like 4 stages to this, and the first one, I was trying to figure out the verbiage of how they were speaking, and I had to Google a lot of words. I am very fluent, and very, I write everything down. So when I come across a word where I'm like, I know what that means, and it's just not in context that I understand, I will literally re-Google that word, because I'm not just gonna assume that my interpretation is what they meant, because that's not the way I felt. So I had to Google a lot of words, and I'm like, all right, I know what evolution means, and I know what involution means. And the way it was worded was, knowledge of the external world is necessary. Fundamental truths of creation and describe the evolution and involution of the world. And I was like, okay. And when you pull and you're reading this, it says in like parentheses, like the definitions, like the first one is, evolution. And in parentheses is manifestation. And it says, so it was more like a definition was universe unfolding from a state of oneness or potentially into diversity form. Universe unfolding form, cheese and crackers. Universe unfolding from a state of oneness or potentiality into diversity, form, and matter. And then involution, and in parentheses was resolution. And the involution is the process where the manifested world with all its forms dissolves back into the original unmanifested subtle state. And thank you, Sarah. I'm very confused. And I have been on this journey for my whole life, but no, I'm not doing reading Shug. I'm actually reading notes I took from a book called The Holy Science that I read, and I'm just holding space for anybody and everybody that may have information or maybe how they perceive if they've read this, and just kind of give floor space for everybody to have a safe space to talk about spirituality and how they experience life. So I grew up in the North, and I went to bullshit public schools, just like everybody else did, and learned about the whitewashing of fucking everything. I knew at a young age that shit wasn't real. Like, dead ass. I'm 36. I'm gonna be 37 this year. Like, school was a fucking joke, and I knew it. And I distinctly fucking remember conversations. Okay. I've never correlated the two of like evolution to manifestation. And in my brain, it's because up until that moment that I read that, I already had a preconceived notion of what I thought. I was 100%, I knew what evolution was. And so now I'm like, oh, I don't think it means what I thought it meant. And so I had to, take a step back and trek that way. And so looking at it through that lens of the world of evolution, but it's actually a manifestation. So then you come from that, and that was, what's the purpose, And it stated that the process is often seen as goal-oriented, and hang on, guys. I can't read and fucking talk at the same time. Thank you for sharing. That it was goal-oriented, a goal-oriented process. Evolution of the world serves the purpose of experience and eventual freedom from ego mind. And I guess I just didn't see the spirituality in my brain. I think it's two separate things. Of course, it's like left brain and right brain. So when I see evolution, aka manifestation, it's like, hang on, I have to I have to like reel it back and be like, don't do that. And then it was like cylindrical nature. Obviously, this isn't a linear event. It's a perpetual cycle of 24,000 year electric cycle. What does that even mean? I have no idea. Obviously nature is cylindrical, but this says, I'm trying to wrap my mind around it right now. This says, the world moves between states of greater material density and greater spiritual awareness. In essence, it's the cosmic breathing of the universe, that it's expanding out into material manifestation and contracting back into the divine source. It's inhaling and exhaling. It's what? So I'm not like an unbiased person. I'm skeptical, but not like hectically skeptical. Again, I'm not that far into the book, but I'm also having a really hard time believing that this guy actually lived into like the decade of now. Because like I feel like I should have learned about this in school. Of course I'm not going to. I'm in the Western world. So in relation to that, there's another book. What is this? I don't know what that is. Another book that I read, and I say it's a book, but it was like 125 pages. And I'm absolutely not going to try to pronounce the way I think that this is said, but it's called The Song of Self-Realization. I can put that in the comments. Hi, good morning. And actually, let me see here if I can. I don't even know what that means. I don't know how to. Anyways. So there was it was a spherical of not so much that there's a top and a bottom. What? Pre-recorded AI, no one can get a skin complexion like that? What skin? I don't. Okay. Anyways, it says that that regularly lived and enjoyed in as nectar, and what that was, that came from another book that I read, and it is. Good morning. It is of the Eastern Hindu spirituality. It's Hindu. I don't know enough about it to know if it is religious or spiritual, and I only put quotations around both of those words because I am unsure. I'm literally so new to this. But I was chatting about it on another platform, and I wanted to open the floor for anybody that knew or maybe lived in this, has experience with this spirituality or this religion. And I was just hopping on to talk about it. So it was the nectar that I saw in this book reminded me of another caption that I saw in another book, and that was called the Upanishads, and that is even farther back. And hello guys. And the etymology of Upanishad is to shatter, to destroy the fetters of ignorance. And they, if memory, there's 3 books to that, I believe. And it is the of the Vedas, wisdom. And they, in this book, I think it's, if memory serves me, I think it's like 125 pages. It says, for those who completed their duties of the world, having retired to the forest to, in parentheses, devote themselves to spiritual study, only spoken, never written. So, in that one, it also spoke of similar things with nectar from the other book that I read that was also in holy science, because, you know, they all are similar spiritualities that came from that region. And so the Upanishads called absolute as it. And then you have like Emanuel Swedenborg, he called his, I guess, spiritual entity that he was experiencing, he called that just the inner. And then you have in the holy science, it is a entity, like it's a name that I'm not going to try to pronounce because I did not Google how to pronounce it. But it was an immortal god that this man met at the Three Rivers in India on a pilgrimage. The Kumbh Mela. Ugh, I know I fucking butchered that. Don't come at me. Anyways, it's a festival of the sacred pitcher, and not legend, but they say that it's the festival of the sacred pitcher are drops from a cosmic churning of the oceans. Nectar. Good morning. And I was like, okay, the synchronicities are lining up. And so I just got like that tingly feeling, and I was like, all right, that tells me I'm on the right path. Like I'm getting somewhere, I'm making traction, right? Or at least I'm on the right fucking path of trying to find out what the fuck I'm trying to know. So I just, I guess I just want to know, does anybody have experience with any of this? Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about? Or has anybody read other books like this? Do you have any experiences that you want to talk about? I don't know. I told like 40 fucking thousand people I was going to be on live today talking about the cool stuff I learned in Hindu spirituality, and I've also been up since 2, and it's only 5:30 where I'm at. I forget that the world is not awake when I am at the witching hour. I don't know. Oh, come here. Come here. What are you doing? Come here. Yeah. Okay. She needed pets. So yeah. I read all kinds of stuff though. And I was speaking to somebody the other day about reading the Kybalion and all the cool things I read about that. And we can bring it back to the Western side of the world, and we can talk about the book Mastery by Robert Greene. I don't know, what do you guys want to talk about? Is there anything, okay, real quick, I know I just asked, but everybody or anybody that's on here that knows anything about tarot, not taking this woo-woo because I didn't come across, let's talk about, I just read. I literally do nothing but read. I don't have a TV. I only usually post on the internet. I don't really talk, but I spend a lot of my time reading in between life. But tarot. So I've always known about tarot. I think we all have. But somebody actually gifted me a tarot deck like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was like, meh, it's not really my thing. It's not really my jam. And then something happened like 2 or 3 months ago, and I was like, okay. I was reading something, and it's literally was like, okay, why does this sound familiar? And I was like, these are qualities of like tarot. Like this is very, and I was like, all right, hang on, let me find out what the history of tarot is. So if you want to know what that is, I have it written down. Because I guarantee you, if you hear it the way that I have it written, you would probably reconsider that it has anything to do with witchcraft or things like that, I guess. Because I was like, oh, it just resonated differently with me. I'm too old to be modeling. I'm happy inside of my house at almost 40. I'm retired, shug. I'm good. If anybody wants some muscle mommy modeling, you can come out and find me in the woods. Anyways, tarot is also very similarly along the lines of this spirituality. And I thought that was very interesting as well. I have also, like, we can talk about The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and how to disidentifying from the ego pain body. We could talk about presence during interaction. We could talk about the release of small self entirely. I even touched a little bit on, because I guess I needed to gauge where the world was at, and I even touched on this whole let them theory, that I don't know her first, Mel Robbins. Not her and Tony Robbins they're not together. Anyways, I even went as far as looking into awesome. Into her theory of at first I didn't know Mel Robbins had come up with the let them theory. I just thought that was the name of like her podcast, or like she just wrote a book. And then I started seeing like traction with it. And then I started seeing people get tattoos of let them. And I was like, okay, so maybe this woman's really on some shit, right? And I followed along for a little bit. And then I saw an episode where I was like, like I saw the switch. It was quick. And I was like, nope. And so I had to do a deep dive into that. And I didn't care for it. I've even I have read Breaking the Habit of Becoming Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I have read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I've read The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukov. I think that's an A. I've read The Kybalion. I have not read The Law of One yet. I really want to get that book, but every time I get on Thrift Books, it's gone. And I can't find a PDF of it. If anybody has a PDF for that, let me know. Or a link. I have read Awareness and Karma by Ram Dass. I've read Self-Inquiry by Mogi. I've read Tara Brach, The Nature of Reality and Identity and Freedom. I've read the Bible several times in my life. I've read Alan Watts. We've got a lot that we can talk about. So it's not just, I know that I don't always post things, and those of you that view my channel is usually like words of the day and etymology and stuff, but I do enjoy coming on and chatting with other people who also may need a safe space to express however they are feeling without chastising or anything like that. So, yeah. I just hopped on today to talk about the holy science, and that somebody had referred me to. And again, I'm not very far into that, those passages, but what I have read, I was super, super excited about. And if anybody has read or has read any work about Emanuel Swedenborg, this book is written by Wilson, but he he was along with Emanuel. And I have pulled, I'm not, as you saw, I'm not very far into this book either. I think I'm on page 60. Yeah. And I've already gotten a slew of interesting things from that. That book is called The Presence of Other Worlds, by the way. And he talks about, Emanuel Swedenborg talks about how he was, let me go back. Hi. That how he discovered in his journey that rational minds are diverse loves, and these occupy its whole court and draws it into their sides, into general, where they are superior loves and inferior loves. I was like, I don't even know what that means. So basically, after I reread it and broke it down, he's explaining that he has seen or witnessed or experienced, and that our minds are drawing our thoughts to either side of our brain. So, we have our logical thinking, left side of the brain, right side of the brain, or I think it's actually reverse. I think right side is logical, left is whimsy. I don't fucking know. Anyways, that there is superior loves and inferior loves. And superior being spirituality, and the inferior natural and corporeal. And I thought that was super interesting, because they are inclined to contend. They're the left and right he's saying that the left and right hemispheres of your brain will fight to occupy whatever's going on. And I was like, that's very interesting information. They are inclined to want to contend, were his exact words. They want to, what? He said, when our mind has been occupied with profound and long continued meditation, this is burned out by some corporeal loves. You stop doing that, basically, I guess. Or they stop fighting. That made me think that when that happens, that he was dropping into his observer, putting his awareness 1 inch behind his sternum and kind of being like, where's this coming from? Again, I'm only on page 60, so I could be wrong. That was just my interpretation thus far. And that if we wish to recall mind things, spiritual and more, that we have that ability that we wish to call upon, we can find it. We just, I was like, okay. That was how he was describing his difficulties with meditation. how that was him describing in his brain fighting the one side of the brain, our thoughts, was, your, I believe they call it your ego self, right? Your thoughts. Like, that's not you. That's, like, who's observing you, right? And he basically, how I read that passage was that he could physically, was aware of both sides of his brain fighting for attention. And that in those moments, it made meditation really hard for him. Like, he was like, if you think that shit's easy, it's not. And I struggle with that shit too. And I was like, damn, it fucking really is like that too. You be sitting there and you're just like, okay. And you just gotta like let those thoughts go. And I was watching another podcast recently about somebody else who was like, yeah, and you have all these silly thoughts, like, okay, there was a noise, and oh, my nose itches, and then, that's a sensation, and you have to just like, okay, I acknowledge that, and you let that go. And then I've also read, though, that situations like that, it takes 30 minutes. That's why, that was my belly rumbling. I need to eat. That it takes 30 minutes, I guess, the average brain to stop with the thoughts, to really drop in. And I absolutely resonate with that, because although I have not physically, like, whatever level he was on in his enlightenment, I definitely know that I also am aware of thoughts and into like all of that. He also stated that in this, he started to experience photism. Aliens. In the manner of beings that don't look like us. Absolutely. And I think I always have, but up until recently, where I saw an interview of the man that worked at Area 51 that took care of and felt sorry for, and ultimately the alien ended up dying. And all of his experiences with this scientist, his experience while tending and caring for this alien under government supervision, wishes that he could have done something to save him. And so, yes, I absolutely do. For sure. Because if we think that we're no. Yeah. I believe that man. He had true, for a man, let's break that down. For one, a man, during that time of that interview, this was like the 60s or 70s, I think. Men during that time were not allowed to be emotional like that, right? They weren't. No, women stayed home and were on fucking Quaaludes, just anyways. Men during that time were not allowed, basically, to act like that. They weren't allowed to have those kind of emotions. And this man was so emotional in this interview. There's just no way to fake that. I've been on this earth long enough to know. And so, yeah, I absolutely do think that we have them, or they're here. I don't think that they're here, not willingly, but like, they don't want to be here. I don't know. Fuck. Anyways. But this dude, Swedenborg, started to experience photism. And what that is, because I didn't know what the fuck that was, right? It's a burst of light seen in response to another sense, being stimulated. Like, if he smelled something that induced a memory, it would cause a burst of light, or a sound would like that he didn't have those responses before this enlightenment. And he said that he was able to do these types of things with intense and intellectual form of meditation that opened out into an exploration of like dreams and trances. So one of the states that he said that he was able to I think pull that information from was like his dream state, like right before, like that moment, like right as you're dozing off, like that moment, excuse me, he can stay in that moment. Like he can drop down and stay there. And I thought that was like, that's hard. I don't know how to do it. Like I know how to drop in, but just to like to stay in it, cheese and crackers. But anyway, that's a really good book. I thrifted this, and I happened to just find it because anything that's like psychology and occult that's $1.50 and 50, like I just feel like they just don't want us to buy it. They feel like if it's that price, it's not worth it, so nobody's gonna purchase it. I don't know, but I picked it. Fucking got me exactly where I needed to go. And so all of my stuff's just kind of everywhere all the time, so you know. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys, and I do in fact need to eat, so I guess everybody that wanted to I guess I'll post this to my other I don't know if I can post videos this long to other platforms. I guess I'll just give them a link for anybody that wants to come back and visit this video, and we can chat about the book The Holy Science as I continue to read more on it. Again, I said I've only made it to like page 14. But I have so much that I wrote down, and I'm super excited that because the book that person recommended led me to like 5 other books that I also need to read now. Yeah, that's all I got today, guys. I appreciate everybody that joined me. I'm new to YouTube. I think this is only like my 2nd live, and so I appreciate everybody hopping in and commenting and viewing. I do know that it is only like 06 on this side of the world, so I appreciate all of you that joined and decided to pop in, and that my vibration resonated with you guys. So thank you for chatting, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.